We played there when I was with the Knicks. We played an exhibition against the Indiana Pacers. When you walk into a place like Hinkle Fieldhouse, you realize you're in the heart of basketball country, and this is where great things happen.
Throughout the years, Hinkle Fieldhouse has hosted basketball games on every level, from college all-star games to the ABA all-star game. And during the early 1950s, the arena played host to one of the most exciting professional basketball franchises in the country, the Indianapolis Olympians.
They just lit a fuse and became really probably the most noteworthy franchise in the country because everybody knew these players so well.
The team was comprised mainly of the 1948 University of Kentucky National Championship squad, coached by Adolph Rupp. The nucleus of the squad joined forces on the 1948 Olympic team, capturing the gold medal. Upon their return, the widely heralded players were offered their own professional franchise in the National Basketball League, a precursor to today's NBA.
For the league, it was like finding gold, you know, because they were just super athletes.
The Olympians featured a dominant center in Alex Groza and the commanding court presence of their mercurial team leader, Ralph Beard.
The two of them combined scored over 34 points a game, which was major scoring in 1950. They'd been well coached in college. They'd played at the highest level of both collegiate and international basketball, and they'd been extraordinarily successful.
Known as the Runnin' Rookies, the Olympians featured the fastest offensive attack in professional basketball, often piling up more than 100 points a game and thrilling pro sports fans throughout the country.
It was team basketball. The moving, the blocking, the picking, the setting up a play. They were a good ball club.
And they packed this place like you wouldn't believe it in 1951. We'd hitchhike from Bloomington into Indianapolis, got out here to the field house and got a ticket and watched the Olympians.
The Olympians regularly drew crowds of over 10,000 to Butler Fieldhouse during the early 1950s, and a sellout of over 15,000 was not unheard of. And those are extraordinary figures at a time when professional basketball was thrilled to draw a crowd of 5,000 or 7,000.
And then, just as the 1951 season was getting underway, the bottom fell out.
In the fall of 1951, Ralph Beard and Alex Groza were taken in for questioning for their involvement in alleged point shaving and fixing in college basketball from their days at the University of Kentucky.
Federal agents had been tracking leads of alleged point shaving in college basketball for nearly 3 years, primarily with games connected to Madison Square Garden in New York, where gambling and illegal game fixing were rumored to have been running rampant for years. Back at the University of Kentucky, Coach Adolph Rupp once boasted that no gambler could touch his boys with a 10-foot pole. But several games from Kentucky's national championship season in 1948, games played at the Garden, caught the attention of federal investigators, including performances by Alex Groza and Ralph Beard.
There were a lot of people who got swept up in this storm of point shaving and fixing. Beard and Groza got caught up in that. These guys had been given money after games routinely while they were at Kentucky.
At their questioning, Beard and Groza both admitted their guilt. They had accepted money from an alumnus of the University of Kentucky who had approached them with a proposition to shave points in a handful of contests. They naively had fallen prey to the gambler's offer, which would still allow Kentucky to win the games, but would demand that the two play to control the margin of victory. Beard and Groza would realize several $100s at the conclusion of each contest.
When Beard and Groza were arrested by the FBI, this was truly a say-it-ain't-so Joe moment for basketball, much like the Black Sox scandal with Shoeless Joe Jackson. It was treated much the same way. It was a huge story.
The reaction from the league was swift and severe.
They were both banned for life And that pretty much took the heart out of the Indianapolis Olympians.
The fans were shocked. They were truly shocked by this turn of events. Alex Groza and Ralph Beard were very popular.
Without its two top stars, the Olympians limped along for another 2 seasons. But the high scores diminished, and the crowds at Butler Fieldhouse dwindled. The club was forced to fold in 1953.
The Olympians had gone from really the pinnacle of professional basketball to utter disgrace. And that obviously took a psychological toll on the basketball fans.
Losing the Olympians was a very big blow to our league.
In the fallout from the national scandal, the NCAA emerged as a regulating force for college game fixing and point shaving practices. And officials at Butler Fieldhouse, soured by their tenuous relations with gamblers and illegal point shaving, refused to host another professional basketball game in the arena for more than a decade after the fall of the Olympians.
They just faded away. It faded away. So the fans had lost interest, and it didn't come back.
It's one of the sad stories of professional basketball.
The magic of Hinkle Fieldhouse lies in its tradition. It is so potent and has such allure that several of the best modern arenas have specifically worked to bring the lines and form of the old Fieldhouse into their buildings. One example is Conseco Fieldhouse, home of the Indiana Pacers.
We made the decision to go retro in building this arena. And once we did that, then it came to mind, well, we ought to take a look at Butler Fieldhouse. Butler represented the history and tradition of the state of Indiana. And so if we're going to build this building, it should be in the form, or it should remind people of a building like Butler.
Like many of the players who have graced this historic hardwood, Hinkle Fieldhouse is now an aging star. Beneath its venerable surface lie the memories of many spectacular performances and unbelievable last-second victories.
Hinkle Fieldhouse, it's like an old friend. It's like Lambeau Field and Yankee Stadium, all of the places that have been around forever.
This is a special place. This is a state shrine to the game of basketball. And when you walk in here, it invokes a feeling, a connection. You're connected to Tony Hinkle, you're connected to John Wooden, you're connected to Bobby Plump, you're connected to Oscar Robertson, you're connected to George McGinnis, you're connected to the icons of Indiana basketball.
It's our heritage. Our fathers, our grandfathers played here. Hinkle Fieldhouse is where it all happened.